Hi, I'm Jackson Howard, a student at Tesoro High School, part of Mrs. Chambers' Honors Biology class, and our topic is the impacts of poaching on species viability and ecosystems. Not everyone fully understands the topic of poaching. It's a lot worse than it may seem. People don't really think it really matters if you kill off a few animals for some profit. Poaching originated in Europe a few hundred years ago. It was a survival technique used by peasants and other very poor people who had nothing and would die if they had not broken the law. However, over time, people started to discover that there are more uses for the animals that they were illegally killing. People realized how the parts of some animals were in great demand, and instead of waiting for long periods of time just to gain these parts legally, they started to kill them for their parts so that they could gain a profit faster. One example of this is the African rhino. According to National Geographic, over 1,000 rhinos were killed for the sole purpose of taking their horns just last year, which are made of keratin. Keratin is a very rare and expensive material in Asia, and people are willing to pay a great sum of money for just a small amount of it because it is believed to have medicinal uses and causes good health. Poaching is the illegal killing or kidnapping of wild animals. Poaching is usually done to make a profit by selling either an animal or its parts. This has many negative effects on the viability of a species and its ecosystem. This can be very bad because it will not only decrease the amount of the organism that is left on the earth, but it will also decrease the biodiversity or life in an area. Although this may not seem like the worst thing in the world, a decline in biodiversity can lead to the downfall of an entire ecosystem. Every species plays a specific role in its community. This is known as a niche. Some species are put in an ecosystem to remove the sick and the old to keep the population in check. These are known as the predators. Without them, the population would grow too big, and this can have many negative impacts. With too many middle-class members, or herbivores, in a population, the vegetation will start to decrease and over time it will start to disappear. This will leave the herbivores with no food and will cause the entire ecosystem to collapse. This is just one of the many negative impacts that can be caused by poaching.
Hi, I'm Jack Stevens, and I will be talking about who the major players are in poaching.
This evening, a new study predicts a dire future for the African elephant. So many are being slaughtered, the species could be extinct within 100 years. Poachers are getting rich selling tusks.
Was such a serious crime has a culprit. People who are contributing to the epidemic are typically portrayed as criminal townspeople. But, after further inspection, this is not the case. The true criminals is China's government. Although it is true the townsmen are the ones who are directly killing and tearing the ivory tusks off the elephant's face, the motivation for this comes from the high demand for it. In China, ivory is considered royalty and shows good health. It is used for carving, piano keys, and jewelry. But what influences the illegal poaching is the price. According to CNN, the black market price for ivory is $1,500 a pound, and 70% of ivory consumers are in China. China's failure to stop smuggled ivory and ivory trade is the reason the poaching hasn't slowed down. If China were successful, the demand for ivory would be none, thus giving poachers no motivation to kill. Although China is the most involved, there are also other countries too. This is in fact a global issue. Many countries are present into ivory trade, such as China, America, Greenland, and even Canada. Although it may seem that elephants are doomed, there is hope. Through determined conservation efforts, some African national parks are seeing growth in elephant population. The growth is seen in the green shaded areas on the map. Also, many are supporting and funding more local anti-poaching programs. One of the biggest steps, though, is China. As of January 1st of 2018, China banned all ivory trade. These efforts are just the beginning of getting elephants back to their flourishing numbers. In an extraordinary journey, African Parks has moved 500 elephants to a new home in Malawi. This was one of the largest and most significant elephant translocations in human history. Due to poaching, habitat loss, and human-wildlife conflict, elephants are being decimated across Africa. 500 elephants, however, is a different story, one of hope and restoration and of securing the future for Malawi's elephants. You can support this group and what they do by going to their site and donating.
I'm Isabel Martinez, and I'm here to talk about the impacts of poaching on humans now and what will happen in the future. Poaching has been going on for a long time, and the effects can be seen now with dead ecosystems, extinct animals, and a decrease in the economy. For example, many countries rely on the environment and animals for tourism, which is a big source of economics, such as in zoos, farms, and national parks. For example, according to the devastating effects of wildlife poaching, in the Yellowstone National Park, the North American gray wolf came close to extinction, which then caused the elk population to increase because of a lack of predators. With the growing population of elk, the aspen trees in the park were being eaten to extinction. Um, this is also an example of a keystone species affecting other species and thereby the entire ecosystem. The decrease in species leads to decrease in tourism because of lack of attractions and desire for the people to actually come and be tourists. Decrease in tourism leads to decrease in economics, which leads to decrease in sustainability for zoos and the people who run them. So poaching is a huge problem and it's affecting negatively the ecosystems and environments. So what can we do to fix this issue? There are a lot of things that people are doing now, but none of them are really sticking and making big impacts. So our group has developed an idea that focuses less on now and more on the future. Our solution is to gather DNA from animals in declining ecosystems and that are going extinct in order to prepare for the future and the future success of ecosystems. This DNA can be stored for later use in cloning. We can clone these species and gradually reintroduce them into their old environment to restore ecosystems and bring the ecosystems back to equilibrium. While this will take a lot of time, we can use the time it will take to develop cloning to study and try to protect the ecosystems to ensure that the species there are surviving and to ensure the species that will be brought back in can be brought back safely and efficiently and can still sustain themselves in the ecosystem.
Thank you so much for watching our presentation, and I hope that you will make a difference.